Hello, Justin and Jean. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing
Good.
great, thanks.
Super excited about this episode. Small world, big screens, meeting sports fans where they are. So, as you can see, we have a guest, Justin Kutcher, here. We're super excited. He is a sports broadcaster, and we ran into each other, connecting over LinkedIn, and to just see how our worlds collide and truly how small this space is, especially when we brought Jean into the conversations and some of the overlapping. So, super excited to have a conversation with Justin and learn more. But Jean, do you want to kind of kick it off a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when we first talked about doing this episode together, like you said, it was just a small world in this business that we're in, and Justin and I know a lot of the same people in production and in the sports world, and me being based in Minnesota and Justin traveling all over the country doing sports. We do run in the same circles, right? And
For sure.
I think we just were going to talk about how being in sports has really changed over the years. And I know we don't look very old, but we've been doing this a while. We have been doing this a long time, and I don't think I would be in this business if it wasn't for my Minnesota Gophers hockey team. And big huge fan of Minnesota Gopher hockey. And growing up and at the start of my career, it was just like you knew every Friday, Saturday night Gopher hockey was on Midwest Sports Channel, and that's where it was. And now, if you're a Gopher hockey fan, it's like, okay, it's maybe not Friday and Saturday night. It could be Thursday night. It could be on Big Ten Network. It could be on the local broadcast station. It could be on the local RSN. I mean, you don't really know, and it's hard as a sports fan. And I'm sure you've seen some of those TikToks and Instagram videos about NFL fans, complaining about how much they have to spend for the different apps to watch their team. And so, we've seen a lot of that change for the fans, but I want to know, Justin, what have you seen behind the scenes as a broadcaster? Because I'm sure it's changed a lot for you too.
Oh man, it has changed so much. I got into it. You talked about your Minnesota Gophers, and I became a sports broadcaster because sports are my life. Unfortunately, my parents are 5'8" and 5'2", so I didn't have that height gene in my pool. I always wanted to be a professional athlete, but I figured out how can I be involved in sports while not playing, and so broadcasting was the way that I went. And the reason why I love broadcasting so much is because it makes you feel like you're part of the team again. Whether you're broadcasting for a team or you're broadcasting for a network, you have that camaraderie. So when I began in the business, I would travel. My entire production team would travel. My analyst and I would travel. So we'd go out to dinners. We'd go out after games for drinks, and you build that team environment, right? So like you always have each other's back.
Yeah.
And you can rag on each other like you do when you're playing a team sport. You're there, and you just have inside jokes. Now, as things have evolved, and I think COVID kind of exacerbated this, but networks were already trying to go in this direction, but COVID allowed them to say, you know what, we're not going to travel the production team anymore. We're just going to send the announcers. And while I'm very grateful that I still get to go to the events, it's not the same.
Right.
You've lost that family environment. You've lost that chance to, go to dinner, to have drinks, to learn about who you're working with, to take an interest. From that perspective, it's changed a lot. And the other side is it's both a plus and a minus. You talk about not knowing every Friday night Gopher hockey will be on, Midwest.
Yeah.
Well, on the flip side, so many games are now televised.
Right.
So you can watch all these games.
Right.
Problem is, maybe there are too many games televised.
Yeah.
Maybe games that shouldn't be televised are being televised, and you don't know where to go to find it.
Well, and then, when so many games are being televised, is the quality still there? Because, you see some games that you're like, all right, whose production is this? Is this a parent with a cell phone? And, sometimes that's what it looks like. And we expect so much to be able to see everything. And so when we actually do have a high quality broadcast, and I think, that's what we all strive to have, is have the best and have the highest quality. So yeah, it really has changed. And, way back in the day, I used to work in some of the production trucks, and it's not even just going out to the dinners. I don't think people realize there's a full day that goes in to getting a production on the air. I mean, when that, the tip off happens and the puck drops or whatever, there's been work for hours and hours that go in. So
For sure.
just, spending those long days with people, like you said, it becomes a real tight knit family, and you can kind of finish each other's sentences, and you get that perspective of what to expect when putting a game on the air. So yeah, that's changed a lot. What else? Anything else you've seen that's changed in sports broadcasting?
Well, I think, you kind of touched on it, but the quality. And, for me, starting out, you always strive to be the best you could possibly be. And you thought the same thing was true with your bosses, with the networks, with whomever. It's like, hey, we have to make sure this is top quality, because there's so much volume now. You can't worry so much about the quality. It's like, get on the air, get off the air, don't drop an F-bomb, and we're happy.
Yeah.
And that to me is a little bit sad, because I don't think enough people take pride in what they're doing. It's just, let's get in, get out, and go home. I've said for a long time that I used to travel about 200,000 miles a year in the air, and I'd be on the road for 180 days a year or so. And you'd have people complaining about it. And I would say to them, I say, look, nobody forced your hand to go into this field.
100%. Yeah.
And so if you're going to complain about travel, just leave. I don't want you to be a part of this team.
Yep.
And so that to me is something like, you have to really want it.
Yeah.
And if you want it, you appreciate the travel. It sucks when your flights get, canceled, or you got to be up at 3 a.m. to catch a 5 a.m. flight to go here and there. But you do it because you love what you do.
Yeah.
And for people who complain about it, I just think that's annoying.
Yeah. And, one of the things I really appreciate and respect about you is your gratefulness for everything that this industry has brought you as a sports broadcaster. You've got your own Just in Time, check it out, everybody, podcast, and just the people that you've met, and just the gratitude. And that's a perspective that not everybody has. And you clearly are sharing that now. Like, you're super passionate, and there's sacrifices for whatever you choose to do. And so you want those people on your bus, the one that have the same passion, and you want that culture that COVID has kind of taken away. And that's super, super important to build strong teams and the untapped potential that comes with that. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look, I used to, like I said, we'd go out for team dinners the night before a broadcast, after the game. Maybe we're all flying out. Well, you go to the airport together, and you go to the airport bar, and you have a drink. Then you say, all right, see you next week. Now it's, you get to the arena, or you get to the stadium, you jump on headset, and you're like, hey, you there? Yep. Can you hear me? Yep. All right, cool. Talk to you in 30 minutes. Yeah. And then the game ends, and everyone just leaves, and you never see anybody in the production. And you're just like, man, it's so, I don't want to say it's unfulfilling, but there's an emptiness.
Sounds isolated.
Yes.
Siloed. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Where, like, you don't have that same joy.
And that's part of what sports brings for the fans too, is you're part of something,
Yes.
like I was telling you before, in Minnesota, boy, we've sure had some epic fails and some misery, but you know what? Misery loves company, and us Gopher fans, we stick together through thick and thin. And that's kind of what happens too in the behind the scenes. Sometimes there are some mistakes on the broadcast, and you guys stick with each other and back each other up. And when you have a really good broadcast, you're happy about it. And so it's kind of the same thing. Like, you're doing it for the fans who are a family and a group, and then you're doing it for each other too, who are a family and a group. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and you always want to learn from your mistakes, right? So if you have a bad broadcast, you should still go out with your crew and discuss what happened.
Yeah. And everything you're wanting is exactly what being part of a team sport teaches you when you're younger, right? Like, I'll admit I don't follow all the sports now, but I played them and my kids are playing them. And everything we're seeking is exactly what being part of a team in sports is what we're looking for now in a professional environment. It's really not different. The great coaches are great leaders, right? Like it's really the same. So talking about like the difference in how you show up at the event and the production team is somewhere else. Are there concerns with like the latency? Like I know when we deliver signal now as everything's going over the top or streaming, huge issue with latency from a Fire Stick and two different TVs on the same channel. Like it's a huge pain point in our industry. So can you share a little bit about any concerns with that, just being off-site?
It's a pain point in my household too, because I have two TVs right next to each other. So I can't put them on the same channel because it might be the wrong time. Yes. So when you're doing a game and the production team is somewhere else, they're not on site with a truck, there is latency. There is a bit of a delay. Like when we come on camera, they'll say, all right, you're on camera. And I'm like, no, I'm not. and so you got to adjust. And sometimes I've noticed it in highlights, right? Like I might be on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and I'll see highlights from the game. And it sounds like I'm a little bit behind the play or the play's a little bit behind me. And I'm like, that's not how it was. I did a game last weekend and I could hear double whistles because I would hear the whistle in the arena.
Oh my word.
And then I'd hear the whistle again. I don't know if that's going out over the air, but I know that it's happening in my own headset.
Yeah.
And so those are issues. I do believe that over time we'll get rid of the latency.
For sure.
I think with technology and everything, it'll get better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a problem right now.
Yeah.
And then I've had times where, doing golf, where our walker, they said, hey, it could be a 1 to 2 second delay from when they hear you to when they can talk. And people don't realize if you're on air, that feels like an eternity. So when that happens, you're like, all right, this is going to suck. Let's make the most of it.
Right. Oh no. Yeah. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. Do either of you have any lasting thoughts before we close?
No, it was great to have you come on, and I think it's great that we know so many of the same people, and back from my days in the production trucks, and keep bringing us events, because sports is one thing that we have talked about before. It really keeps people subscribing to TV and subscribing to the different apps, and it's what drives subscriptions. And so we need sports, and we need quality sports out there too. We don't want just garbage on our apps and our lineups.
Yeah.
This is what COVID did. It forced our hand, where us doing these interviews like this are now good for national TV. Think about that. That's crazy. Like you used to have to bring a camera crew to do an interview, or have the person go to a site where they have a feed. Now it's like, oh, you got your computer and Wi-Fi? All right, cool. Let's do this.
Yep.
It's weird what's become acceptable and what's become the norm.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I love it. And Gene and I always tout about how small the industry is, but this is the first time we brought somebody from like your side of the industry, and to see how you and Gene know so many of the same people. Granted, she worked at Fox as well as you have, but it's just mind boggling to me, and it makes me love the industry even more. So thanks for joining us. And again,
my pleasure.
Just in Time podcast. He has his own. Check it out and keep following No Commercial Breaks. And if you want to be a guest, let us know.